Okay, just wanted to make sure we were up and running. Good morning, everybody, on this 11th day of April 2018. I'm Roy Potter, and this is the live stream version of the Potter Expositor. And as I said, 2 days ago on a quick, short live stream, that I would have another, major live stream in about 24 to 48 hours. So here we are. All of you who are concerned about my surgery, thank you very much. However, when I got to the doctor's office, they ran some tests and they said they can't do it right now because I have some other things I've got to get fixed prior to that. Some of the infection is still laying over, and there's some other problems. So at any rate, I appreciate everybody's concern. Thank you very, very much. Welcome this morning. I do have the live chat on right away, so you can start discussing things if you want. What I'd like to start off with first is basically the information that we were on with the raiding of Trump's personal attorney's office, Michael Cohen. We were really concerned about that. It's a big deal. It really is. It involves, of course, attorney-client privilege and some other things. Now, there's a way to get around attorney-client privilege when the attorney themselves are, in the criminal episode, or for national security, and there's some other reasons. But basically, after I looked at this thing and saw what was actually happening, as most of you know probably now, it's a violation of attorney-client privilege. It's really bad. And, it involves two things, if you understand this at this point. They're saying that a Ukrainian made a donation to Trump. This was back, I think, prior to even the election. But at any rate, it was for, obviously some services rendered as far as a speech was concerned or something like that. And the other incident occurs around the whole pay off to Stormy Daniels. Either one of those are inappropriate. This is far outside anything that Mueller should be looking at, and as we've said all along, Mueller is out of control. He is no friend of Trump's, like a lot of people are trying to say. This is not 4D chess. It's not a theater put on to throw the deep state off, because trust me, they're not going to get thrown off by something like that. So this is a very serious thing, and they definitely are after President Trump and our attempt to restore the constitutional republic of the United States. So I wanted to say that first. There really isn't much more to say. You've been hearing the talking heads and the pundits and some information going on. I find that Alan Dershowitz and I think it's Greg Jarrett's his name, and of course Judge Napolitano, all of them, probably Judge Janine. I haven't heard her talk about it to a great extent, but there are a lot of people out there that are calling it for what it is, and there's no sense in me rehashing that aspect of it here, other than to say that it shows how far down our nation has sunk, and that the truth is hated so much. As a matter of fact, it's not even an argument on ideology anymore, as I've talked about. It really is an attempt by leftist Marxists to overthrow our freedoms, our liberties, our constitutional republic. And everybody that's involved in the investigation on Mueller's side, all of them are dirty. And I still say, and I noticed, I keep having to bring Q up because of it's impossible to avoid it, even though I don't like it. But I saw it again, trust Ray, trust Sessions, and it's manifestly not so. I don't know why that keeps popping up, unless, as Q said long ago, that disinformation is important. But as I pointed out in one video, if in fact Trump has anything to do with Q, which I don't believe, but if he did, and Q is saying the types of things that Q is, with Trump's approval, then that actually opens Trump up to some accusations that could be a problem for him legally. And I've talked a little bit about that before. I'm not going to go into it in any depth here today. Well, putting that aside, of course, the big thing is Syria. And I've got to go there, unfortunately. You know, Trump has been the victim of false accusations, betrayal, lies, twisted truth. And we're asked, those who are his base, who he hardly seems to pay any attention to, we're asked to stay with him, to stay on his side, which I am perfectly willing and able and must do with this whole thing, with this investigation that Mueller has now opened up beyond all boundaries and righteousness. And indeed, people like Rosenstein, I could see not firing Mueller, but boy, fire Rosenstein and Sessions and Wray at this point, absolutely. But at any rate, we're asked to understand that he's being falsely accused on all of these things that they're attacking him with. And we've opened our hearts and our minds, and rightly so, because the evidence does not condone, does not support the accusations being made against him by the leftist Marxists, the DNC, the deep state, etc. They don't. There's nothing there, and it's obviously a witch hunt. Now I pray tell that somebody explain to me why Trump does not return that same demand, that same expectation when he's dealing with Bashar al-Assad in Syria. That is hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, it just is. It just is. Especially when the lives of hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of people are at stake. How many times have we shown, how many times have we been able to determine that these supposed chemical attacks are done by Assad, and they're not. They're done by others. Or in this case, maybe not even done at all. There's an inspection team on its way now. It might actually be there. And there's some indications that maybe there wasn't even such an event. The white hats, the ISIS people, have been known before to inject people with heroin, I guess it was, to kill them, to make them look, to go into a comatose state, and eventually they die. Well, I know I've seen chlorine poisoning firsthand and nerve agent poisoning firsthand, and I don't see any evidence of either in the videos that we've been shown. Sorry, I just don't. Interesting. Maybe if there was a little better resolution in the photographs and the videos, I could see maybe some blistering or redness or whatever, those types of things. But in the photographs I'm seeing, I don't see either one. And yet, and the Russians are saying that such thing happened. They even warned that this was going to occur like a month ago. They said they had evidence, they had intelligence that this thing was being set up for a false flag. But our enemies, and I'm going to say it that way, our enemies in D.C., New York, London, etc., but primarily in D.C., those are our real enemies that have been attacking Trump and us. The real attack on the American people, on the United States, is being done from inside our government. Those are the real enemies. And yet Trump now wants to go after an enemy who's never attacked us, and who he said just a few years ago it was wrong to go into Syria. But the real thing about this that I'm pointing out is that he gets betrayed, he gets accused with false accusations, and then turns around and goes along with his crap that's coming out of the intelligence community and Israel and Saudi Arabia on this whole deal in Syria. And it's not fooling me, and I hope it's not fooling any of you. Now, I'm going to beat that dead horse a couple of times today. He calls Bashar al-Assad an animal. Oh, and by the way, when those tweets first came out, if you know, a few days ago, he came out and he accused, first of all, he accused Assad again of doing this, and then called him an animal. Wow. You know, that's almost unbecoming of a president to use that kind of language. Well, Jack Posobiec came out and said that he had two sources that said that Trump didn't tweet that out, that somebody else did. Really? So now we find out that somebody really does have control of his Twitter, which has been a point that I've made for quite some time, if no other way than behind the scenes using the Twitter keys. But this apparently is somebody in the White House, right? Or has access to his Twitter. So Jack Posobiec says that Trump didn't make that tweet, that somebody else did. Well, then another similar tweet was made either late last night or early this morning. So what is it, Mr. Posobiec? I hope I say your name right. And I'm not attacking Jack. He's a good man. I like Jack a lot. I hope he's still current naval intelligence. I hope he didn't get out of the Navy, but I don't know where he's sitting there right now. But my point is, you see, this is a problem. If Trump doesn't have control of his Twitter, then everything that we've ever been told about any kind of reconciliation, any kind of corroboration between Q and Trump is out the window. That's the first thing. The second thing is, well, guess what? He made the similar tweet, either last night or this morning, calling Assad an animal. So we have a problem either way. The real animals, and I begged Trump to do this like he's going to pay attention to me. I know the trolls out there are going to say, oh, Roy, you're being arrogant. You have no reason to talk like that, whatever. I've been begging Trump, and I've been hoping that people would bring up the fact that we need to clean our own house first. They're making a big deal about now Bolton's cleaning house. Oh, crap if he is. If anything, he'll bring more neocons in there to push for war. Trump has a war cabinet. He doesn't have and it's not a war cabinet to go after the enemies in our country. It's not working out that way. Clinton, I'll tell you who you can call an animal, President Trump. Clinton, Podestas, etc., etc. Okay? This is very distressing to me. And if it's not distressing to anybody else, then our country is further down the line of destruction, and I'm wasting my time, and so is everybody else that's trying to buoy this up. And we might as well just close shop, go out to a refuge somewhere, make sure that we pray, and stay out of the way, and God help us, and maybe we can weather the storm while these idiots who lead this world blow it to smithereens. Trump, one of his platforms was not to get involved in regime change and to stay out of Syria, etc. And to believe this lie and to move forward. Now, a lot of people are saying, I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm seeing this. This is drama. This is to fool everybody. This is to take everybody, to fool them and take them by surprise that he's really doing something else. Pray tell, what is that? If you're a school teacher and you see threats being made on the school ground, what do? Or if you're a police officer and somebody makes a threat that we're going to come and throw missiles at you, just figure rocks. I'm going to throw a rock at you. I'm going to throw a knife at you. Those are missiles. We're going to throw missiles at you, and there's no way you're going to stop them. That's a terroristic threat, and the person that makes those threats deserves to be arrested. What makes Trump think he's any different? Now, damn it, I defend him one day, and the next day he throws everything out the window. Just like he did with the guns. Oh, grab the guns first, and then we'll do due process. He promises to take care of the Second Amendment, and he throws out, oh, no, we're going to take care of the bump stocks. We're going to get rid of those. What happened to his promise that concealed carry would be made so, just like a driver's license, be honored in all 50 states? Look, everything that Trump, and I've said this before, everything that he's done outside of taking down the Clintons and the deep state, and I know how hard that is, but we're at a point where there's no choice, no matter what it takes. Everything else that he's done outside of that, if that's not done, as soon as they get him out of office, they reverse everything that he's done, and it's all for nothing. Where are the arrests? Well, we're seeing some, like I said the other day, but not the enemies of our country, the true enemies of our country. No, he's going to go so that he can deflect this Russia collusion stuff, which is really over anyway, by doing this to Syria. Like I said, I'm going to beat this dead horse because I'm really tired of it. I'm tired of the hypocrisy. And I'm tired of people saying this is just a theater, you know, so that he can do whatever else he's doing. You don't bring warships and threaten with missiles and things like that for theater in a situation like this. You're playing with the lives of millions and maybe billions of people. And I reject everybody who says that. I reject you for, not you, but I reject you saying it. This is outrageous. What's happened to America? Yes, I'm letting off steam today. I can't believe my eyes and my ears. It's like even Trump is mentally ill. Maybe he always was. You know, I look at Melania and I think, you know, when have we ever had a first lady like Melania? Elegant, smart. But she came into this thing kicking and screaming, is from what I understand. Maybe she knows more than we thought. Okay. I want you to go watch the Sergeant Report if you haven't done it already. Sean did an excellent explanation. Believe it or not, it's called Q:*Traders. And it's an excellent explanation of everything that's going on. Again, I don't fault people for following Q. It's just like a book on a table, you know, for conversation, for waking you up. I agree with all of that. I agree with all that. But then there are other problems with putting you to sleep and getting you sidetracked, thinking that somebody else is going to take care of the problem. Whatever. And there have been some really serious problems, as I pointed out, but I don't really want to go there today. Just go watch the Sergeant Report and his don't spell out colon, it's Q and then the colon, you know, or semicolon rather, traders. It's very, very good. I mean, he always does good work. Always, always, always. But that one really explains things very well. You know, I had a friend last night, and we were first talking about all this Mueller thing and the raiding of Cohen's office and all of that. And we're trying to brainstorm to come up with some people that I can bring on the show. And I've reached out to a couple of folks to see if we can talk, because hearing me talk gets boring, and I know that. And plus, we need some other input from some people who might be a little bit in a different situation to comment on it. So we're talking about that. And then I find out about the Trump's continuing on with this Syria thing. And I blew a gasket. And I called him up. Actually, I tweeted him. And, you know, he goes through the same thing he always does. He tries to slow me down and say, look, Roy, consider this, consider this, consider this. And I do. I consider all those things. And he's talking about Trump being surrounded and all that, and he's not being given the right information in his briefings. He really doesn't know what's going on. And I have to tell my friend, I had to tell him last night, and I'm telling him again today, there's no excuse for Trump not to know what's going on, despite who's around him. He's got plenty of other people, plenty of other ways to find out, and this is not the first time this type of thing has happened in Syria. I'm sorry. He wanted this job, and he needs to stand up to the military-industrial complex and the deep state. I know how hard that is. They threatened his family. I know these things with the aircraft, with Ivanka and with Don Jr., and even Trump's plane back a few years ago. All of that, the loss of our military aircraft, you know, in the last week or two. I understand that he's under a lot of pressure and that he loves his family. But, do you risk the lives of hundreds, thousands, and millions of other people to take the heat off of you? And if that's the man that we've got in the White House, I'm afraid I can't go there any longer. You know, it's not easy to put your family in the line, but he did that when he ran in the first place. This isn't the time to back down from the deep state and to do the bidding of the military-industrial complex and, in fact, the New World Order, which is what he will be doing if he actually takes action in Syria, either small or great. We are going to lose an Aegis destroyer in the first 5 minutes if this thing goes live. It's going to be that quick. And anybody who thinks that the U.S. military has all this, they have a lot of new weaponry they haven't told anybody about, sure. But don't think the Russians don't know about it. As I've often said, the classification system is to keep you in the dark, not the enemy. That's all a joke. I mean, look what's happened. You think the enemy, the Clintons sold our missile technology, so and the Bushes assisted China. You know, our system is so corrupt, I really don't know what to do. And then we have all these people, even Senator Grassley now is saying, you know, bad things about Trump as far as, you know, this Mueller thing. Trump doesn't have any friends that are helping him. So we want to do that. But then it turns around and he goes along with a false accusation against Assad in Syria to placate Bibi Netanyahu and Prince Salman of Saudi Arabia. And as I've said, those are two sides of the same coin. Wow. I'm sorry, but this is spiritually corrupt, morally corrupt. And it's not theater, it's stupidity. Talk about organized enemies. The FBI and people in the Department of Justice have attacked Trump with false accusations. It's a war. The first casualty of war is truth. We see it with the attacks on Trump. We see it with Trump's attacks on Assad. You know, you'd think that somebody would have a little moral superiority here, but they don't. It always goes down to the lowest common denominator, and the first casualty of war is truth. Does anybody stand on principle anymore? Apparently not. So as I said before, I'm really thinking that it's really too late. If Trump attacks Syria, I'm losing all faith in him. I'm sorry, my friend, who's probably listening. I will not trust him at all on anything anymore. I can't. I can't. One little guy like me, that's not going to make any difference. But at least my conscience will be clear of the mayhem, the murder, the killing, the destruction that's going to come because of this stupid act. Now, it might be that, you know, this thing will get settled diplomatically and that Assad will say, okay, I'll go ahead and step down, whatever. But that doesn't change what's happened here and the dangers that people have been put in because of this, and this machismo and this bravo, you know, this ego. You need good people to lead you with egos, but sometimes it can get in the way of what's best for everyone. So my point is here that we talk about enemies, and I mentioned earlier, nothing's happened to Clinton, who's a real enemy. Look at all the things talk about an animal, what she did in Haiti, and yet she's still roaming free. Why? Because Trump's afraid to go after her? Because of the fallout? Because they already tried to kill his daughter? And yet this is all part of the trust the plan, right? Right? Really? Really? So what enemies have actually killed Americans in the last few years? And I don't mean overseas. We started that problem over in the Middle East, our intelligence agencies and England's, Britain's, and we send our young over there to get maimed and killed and to kill other young And well, all of those people, in the army, the old saying, join the army, go travel the world, go see new people, and then kill them. That whole thing. That's exactly what's happened. So we have these enemies, right, here in the States that have killed more people here in the States than Syria ever has. They never have. They've never threatened us. The clear and present danger isn't Syria. And Trump should get a declaration of war from Congress if he wants to do that. And he's going around it with the War Powers Act and all this other crap that's been put into place to subvert our Constitution, which he shouldn't be doing. But what's the real clear and present danger? It's people like Clinton, Podesta, Comey, Rosenstein, Wray. And I know some people say, no, not Ray. We have enemies in the United States that have actually killed people. Look at Las Vegas. We still haven't been told about that. And we know for a fact that there were elements of the government behind that. What's happened with that? Who is being held accountable? For 58 killed and how many maimed? More than Syria's ever done to us. What about Parkland? What about 9/11? Talk about animals. We're going to call Assad an animal? Well, Trump is allowing real criminals to walk free in this country, and they're preparing to do something a lot worse probably than 9/11. It's just around the corner. And he's not going after them. Going after, I don't want to hear anymore that, trust the plan and that it's going to happen. It's taken 3 decades to get here and we can't solve it in a decade. We can't solve it in a day. Well, you know what? The same then should hold true with Syria, shouldn't it? The hypocrisy and the lack of logic and the equalization of thought here, the lack of it is beyond me. I don't know. Let's see what you all think. If he invades Syria, I'm done. And the whole purpose of trying to retain the House and the Senate for the good of the country, which my friend has told me about, and I agree with it. But what's the point? What's the point? You want your, I told you a long time ago, they want perpetual war, and you all know that. And they've been willing to kill your sons. Well, now they're going to take your daughters. And I've warned about that. I told I'm sick and tired of this PC. We've got everything in our country is upside down. If we don't protect our women, what are we doing? What is it for? And I know there are women out there saying, "Oh, I can do all this stuff." That's not the point. It's not if you can, it's if you should. What does it do to the culture? What does it do to our society? What does it do to men and women relationships? And if you think that it's hokey-dory in the service, you've not been there. This whole thing is fatally flawed, ladies and gentlemen. It's fatally flawed. I was hoping that Trump would set the tone, but in situations like this, where's his effort to help us with our free speech, with the First Amendment? No, Sessions is over here dinking around with marijuana, right? We've got people like Clinton walking around. We've got actual killers walking around in our government who helped to caused Las Vegas to happen. The Garland shooting, Parkland. We've got all kinds of evidence of people in the government involved in that, or at least government agents of one sort or another, right? Why isn't Sessions going after that? No, he's worried about marijuana. Somebody's going to have a little grass, in their house. And Trump's letting him get away with it because he won't act. He can't fire Sessions because if he does, he'll be impeached. you know what? It's time to either put up or shut up. And if you all think otherwise, you're going to get what you deserve. And it's right around the corner. So now they're going to grab your daughters. And you're going to let them do it. Because it's the right thing to do to stand up for the country and patriotism and all of that. Well, yeah, when your daughters come home in a basket, in a box, or they come back missing arms, legs, breasts, whatever, let's see how you feel then. Oh, they did it. Oh, they were sacrificed for their country. No, they were sacrificed for Moloch. We just never learn. We believe the same shit over and over again. Okay, Sessions has a seated grand jury ready to indict y'all. No, you know what? I'm from Missouri. I'll believe it when I see it. But you know, at this point, it's almost too late. If we get in, remember we said, and a lot of people have said, in case you forgot, that when we got close to taking out the cabal, if that's even true that Sessions is doing that, and I'm not sure it's him, there's evidence, strong evidence to suggest otherwise, that he's a member of the SES and that all this is to cover this up. His choice of John Huber in Utah? Are you kidding me? In Utah? One of the military-industrial complex capitals and pedophile and drug capitals of the world? Right. This doesn't look good. I'm sorry. It doesn't look good. Sessions has a grand jury. Yeah. Well, you know what? If this war, we said, which I started to say, when you start to threaten the cabal, they'll take you to war. They'll destroy everything. Go listen to the Sergeant report. He even talks about this, that the cabal will destroy everything rather than lose power. And I've been saying that, and anybody who looks at the situation in an honest way will say that. The grand jury, supposedly, all these indictments will mean nothing if a war starts. That will be long forgotten. And I told you, if they take Trump out, or in this case, get him on their side to do this war, all of that's going to go away, ladies and gentlemen. And then you're going to have the 5G and the panopticon. You talk about your liberties and all that, they're gone. Because Sessions isn't worried about protecting your First Amendment rights. He's not concerned about protecting your Second Amendment rights or any of the Bill of Rights or indeed the Constitution. What's the real theater here, ladies and gentlemen? What's the real theater? That Trump and Sessions and Wray are going to take care of it all. That's the real theater. Okay. Well, what was that? You know, I'm not even going to address people that, you know, when you're going to say something like, well, that Roy, you don't really know Trump, or Roy, you don't understand, or whatever. You know what? You're a lost cause. You're a lost cause. Zingara Creek. No, I didn't get the surgery. I explained that at the beginning. I went in and they ran some tests and they said, you know, we can't do it today. You've got these other problems. You've still got this infection. You've got this problem. We don't want to do it. You're going to have to, you know, take some more medication to get ready because you're not ready. So thank you for asking, though. It's very kind of you. Like I say, none of this is going to matter, though, if the world blows up tomorrow. And everybody's saying, oh, Trump will, not everybody, Trump will keep control of it, whatever. You know what? You don't keep control of something like that. There's no way to keep control of something like that. Okay, Pam Newton is saying we must find peace within. It's not in this world, and I agree. But we're also charged with, you know, taking care of our brothers and sisters. You know, the scriptures, and really every religion is very, very well said on that. That, you know, you do all you can to make sure that people are okay here. The golden rule, the simple golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Or the other side of that: don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. So Trump doesn't want to be, falsely accused, but he's willing to go along with a false accusation elsewhere against somebody else. And I do not believe for a minute that he doesn't know what the real story is. He's got some inside knowledge that there really was gas, and that Assad did it. That hasn't been true in any case up till now, and now is not the time for Assad to have moved that way. And the Russians, I was watching the Russian ambassador in the UN yesterday or the day before. I'm not sure when this discussion actually took place. But Nikki Haley is sitting there like she's got her deer in the headlights look. That's another thing. What the hell is she doing in the UN? Oh, she's going to do exactly what Trump says she's supposed to do. Really? Then I'm not impressed. But the Russian ambassador is sitting there saying, look what you've done. Look at everywhere you go. He's talking to the U.S. Everywhere you go, you leave chaos and destruction behind. And that's true. That's absolutely a fact. People are trying to make comments on the chat, and they're not being permitted to do it. So that's interesting. So, what I'm saying is that at this point of this whole game, I don't know that it matters. And my friend last night misunderstood me. I said, this is starting to look like, we have Hillary anyway. And he said, how can you say that? If you think Hillary would have been better, I've got a bridge to sell you. And I said, that's not my point. My point is that in the end, it's not going to make any difference if we keep going down this road. Even knowing what I know and what I've seen here, of course, I wouldn't have wanted Hillary. It would have just happened faster. Then again, maybe a good snap of the neck on a hang is better than choking to death. Because that's what I feel like we're doing now. We're just here getting asphyxiated. Trump needs to repent. He does. He if he's capable of it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I guess I don't need to do this anymore today. If in fact they strike, Israel's already gone into Syria, and you can't tell me that Trump didn't know they were going to do it. And we've got Britain there, we've got France there, our own warships, who God knows what else. I don't think that this is going to end well. But if the attack, there's already been attack. There have already been attacks. If Britain, France, and Trump jump in on this, we better pray to God, and we better get out of the way. Because all your hope and all your faith is lost because the overriding principle of charity was thrown in the garbage can. I'm done. You all have a good day. Sorry I can't give you any better information. It's almost hard for me to say it this time. Pray and stay out of the way. That's still good. God bless you. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. God bless, God help us. God bless, God help the Second American Revolution. And I don't think Trump is appreciating God blessing him with the discernment to know right and wrong. But I'll say it anyway. If he chooses to do the right, God bless President Trump and his righteous endeavors, which I'm beginning to wonder if they're ever going to materialize. And may he have the gift and spirit of discernment to know right from wrong. But he may know it and he may reject it. Whatever the reason. Being threatened, I don't care what it is. Then he needs to go public and tell us what's going on. What, it's going to cause civil disturbances in the United States? Hey, we're well down that road anyway. Hopefully I'll see you in a few days. I'm not sure. I got to decide what I'm going to do. Thanks for coming out here.